Not getting any interviews? Does your resume have too much on it? Today, we're talking about narrowing down your extensive work history so you can have a concise resume. I've seen hundreds of resumes by this point, and I'm very thankful for those people that have entrusted their time and their resumes with me. And all too often, they're run on resumes, no offense. As we gain experience in our lives, our education, training, work, it's natural that we should be proud of what we're doing, what we've achieved. And so what happens? Our resume gets longer and longer and longer. How did you find this show? How do you find other shows of interest? When you're scrolling, what happens? Something of interest catches your eye. Something stopped the scroll. How does a lengthy resume do that? Unfortunately, in today's day and age, it doesn't. So we have to think. If our resumes are too lengthy, we're not going to catch and hold attention. We might grab attention, but it could be for the wrong reasons. So we really have to think about what goes on our resume and, unfortunately, what comes off. And this is where I lose a lot of people, even paying clients of mine. This is where I lose them mentally when we're connected, because during a session, I'll say, hey, it's great that you've had 30 years of work experience here, but a 4+ page resume just isn't going to work today. Well, Craig, I know because I've been submitting it. I've submitted almost, let's say, 100 in this case, and I just haven't gotten any positive responses. Said, look, we need to change some things. Well, what do you suggest? Well, for starters, we need to narrow down your work experience and your education. So they say, okay, that sounds great. So you're with me, right? Check this out. So then the opposite thing happens. I say, let's start removing things that are of a certain age, 20 years or older. Well, Craig, wait a minute. I'm really proud of that. That's when I developed. That's when I designed. That's when I was part of a team hey, their emotions come out. It's perfectly normal for that to happen. I understand that. I've designed things in my life too. Some of my designs as an engineer have been up for patents, and I'm very proud of those things. But you know what? If you're applying for a job and your resume is too long, you're going to hear this. Crickets. Because people just don't have the time. There's 3 things that we are running short on today in this life of ours in the 2020s, right? And it's time, resources, and money. People don't want to pay as much anymore, sadly enough. Your salary, your benefits, companies don't want to do that. Resources, they want to work you harder. They want to work you longer, and they want you to accomplish more with less resources, less team members. They want you to get as much done as possible. From a project management standpoint, which is my background as well, sounds great. But when we push and we push too hard, that's the problem. So what does all this have to do with narrowing down your extensive work experience? Well, just like you have to compress down things so that you can report out to someone on your team, have a clear message, a clear story, communication is the absolute most important thing we have going for us. There's written communication. Used to be in the form of documents and reports. Now it's even email. Heck, written can even be in the form of electronic, in the form of texts. Do you communicate clearly in writing? Then, of course, it comes to verbal, and then it comes to visual and in person. How well do we communicate? What's this all have to do with a resume and even with earning an interview? Well, let me tell you, if we can't communicate clearly to those that are hiring managers, human resource professionals, recruiters, then we're going to lose them. You're going to lose them. You could say, but Craig, I'm really proud of everything I've done. I'm a great candidate. Why aren't I getting interviews? It's not you that is the problem per se. It's your resume. Your resume has really only one job to do: earn the interview. That's it. So if we stop and we look back down, we say, whoa. I wanted my resume to have all my educational experience, all my work history, my achievements, my accomplishments. Heck, there were things in high school, there were things in trade school, college, whatever your top level of education was, that you still might be proud of, and you should be. However, there's a place and there's a time for your resume to hold that content and to display it. So what do we do to resolve this? How do we start moving towards a concise resume? Well, for each and every one of us, it's different. Some people I've worked with, colleagues as well as have become clients of mine, have 20, 30+ page resumes. Now, hold on a minute. Give me a chance, okay? When I first heard this, oh man, we have a lot of work to do. But that was really clever what they did. They basically used it as a rolling roster, as a rolling document of everything they've achieved since high school, since college, whatever they started this log. And it's more than just a quote resume. I get it. But what they do is they pick and choose what they want on their future resume for when they're applying for specific roles. And if there's one thing that you're going to learn on this channel is that I highly recommend a customized resume for each and every job you apply for. Before you change your channel on me, hold on, okay? The positive is it absolutely works if you just give me a chance. The negative feedback, I don't have time to go through this and create customized resumes for each and everything, each and every job. I'm going to create one resume. It's going to be great. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to check out resources. I'm going to do some stuff, and I'm going to fire it out. Look, I have very fortunate that I've been able to work with small companies, entrepreneurial, solopreneur-based companies, single owners, all the way up to Fortune 500. This isn't about me, though. It's about the connections that I've made and the discussions that I've had. And I get their feedback, what they're looking for, what they prefer in a resume, what they dislike, how interviews go, how interviews should go, and how poorly interviews have gone. Through the tools of video, podcasts, YouTube, and such, I can share these things with you. We need to grab that attention. We need to look at that resume. And by customizing it, they see that you're taking the effort and the time to talk to them, not talk at them. Because they've also told me time and time again, they see a generic resume coming a mile away. Oh, here comes another one. Nope. If our resumes don't stop the scroll, signal, read on, you may get discarded early. You could be the best candidate, like we said earlier, for a job, you personally, me personally, but our resources, our qualifications, our values aren't coming through to the other side because our resume is not doing it for us. If you're early on in your career, you're likely not to have this trouble with a concise resume, and you might ask, Coach Craig, what's a good length resume if I'm starting out? I've got limited experience. 1 page is absolutely fine. Companies would prefer 1 page. It's concise, it's complete, it gets to the point. They welcome it. Some companies, I know, even Fortune 500, require it. They don't tell you that. It's kind of an internal test once it comes. How well can you clearly define? To be clear, this could be a manager or director specific thing that he prefers or she prefers or they prefer. I'm not saying that you have to keep your resume down to 1 page, but if you're new, if you have limited experience, 1 page is absolutely acceptable. You don't have to push, you don't have to elaborate, you don't have to do anything to have it roll over to 2 pages. If it does, that's completely okay too. Now, going to our more experienced colleagues out there, right? Looking at extensive work history, the point of today's show. Try to get it down to 2 pages, all right? 2 pages or less. Then think about the specific objectives, the specific reason you're applying, and look at the job title, look at the description, look at the requirements, and then look at the nice to haves. There's some preferences these companies have. If you meet any of these preferences, this pushes you way up above others if you have these talents, if you have these skills, if you have these qualifications. So make sure those things shine. Let's say you had 3 seconds to read a resume or what it's called scanning, right? Where would you put a preference? At the absolute top, the first third of your first page, because I'm doing this backwards, but as Americans, as English language, you read left to right and top down. So I guess for you, it's left to right, top down. If that preference, if that preferred data is on the first third, you are signaling stop the scroll for a good reason. And you're going to get someone to go, hey, this one sounds good. Let's keep it to the side of the pile. We've scanned it. We've skimmed it. That's our first process. When a human sees it, it's called scanning or skimming. And you get about 3 seconds, like I say. It's not about the content. It's about just the structure, organization. Maybe they'll hit on a keyword or two. Maybe. That's part of the content, admittedly. But it's about that structure, that visual appeal. And if you're going to put valuable information somewhere, that top 1/3 needs to signal read more. I hope this has helped you think about narrowing down your extensive work experience so that you can have a concise resume. Again, remember, 1 page is absolutely acceptable. If it rolls into 2, not a problem, you're good. However, remember how we read left to right, I think it is, and top down. And the important stuff is on the top page, first 1/3 of it, okay? Thanks so much for listening. I'd love for you to like and follow. subscribe. And also, if you're in desperate need of help, maybe you're in a toxic job now for career recovery, maybe you've unfortunately suffered reduced hours or lost your job and you don't know where to turn, who to trust. I have 30 years career experience helping coaching and guide people in a variety of industries, and I'm going on 5 years with my career coaching business and my podcasts. I'm very honored to be here, be a trusted resource for you. If you need help, click my link and go ahead and go to my website, craigancel.com. That's CRAIGANCEL.com. I have something called a Career Recovery Coaching Breakthrough Call. Let's talk about your challenges, where you want to go, your goals, your visions, and let's see if one or more of my programs is right fit for you to help you recover in your career quickly and effectively. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Career Coach Craig Ancel signing off. We'll see you next week.